I'll be honest, I started managing way before I was ready. I come from a consulting background. I was in a big four consulting firm in London for 4 years, and you start as an analyst. And the thing that happened to me is that I was a first year analyst myself, and I was managing someone who was also a first year analyst, but in a cohort that started literally 6 months after me. No one cared about the fact that you were so incredibly junior and you had no training about how to be a good manager or how to manage full stop. All you could do is learn on the job, learn by doing, and then kind of learn from your own mistakes. So I want to talk about 5 things that I would tell my first time manager self. Thing number 1 is it's a skill set. It's not a byproduct. Being a good manager is something that you need to get good at. It's part of the job, and it's also a very important thing that makes or breaks people's experience at work. Like literally, the way that people manage others is the thing that forms the company culture. And if you think of toxic workplace dynamics, if you think of thriving workplace dynamics where people are happy to go to work, or, if not happy to go to work all the time, at least they're actually quite reasonably content and they enjoy it. All of that, a lot of the time, comes down to the way that their relationship with their manager works. So if you're starting to manage people, understand that this is something that is now your responsibility to get better at, and it can be developed. Don't expect that if you don't know what to do, if you don't know how to get things right the first time around, that, okay, this is your fate and now you're going to be bad at it forever. That is absolutely not the case. It's a skill and it can be developed. Number 2, you need to get the balance right between not being micromanaging, but also giving people enough direction that they feel supported. This is probably the biggest dilemma that a lot of people face. It's the fact that, first of all, people need oversight. You're more senior for a reason, and the reason is that you know how to do certain things that person doesn't know how to do. So they need someone more experienced to guide them. At the same time, there is actually a lot of research that says that if you figure things out by yourself, that learning sticks better. It's actually a very good thing to give people a bit of space to learn, to make mistakes, to learn from their mistakes, to iterate and get better, is something that requires you to give them independence, a certain level of independence. But how to balance the two? Because they seem a little bit contradictory, and yes, they can be a lot of the time. So I think this is something that I had to figure out kind of by practice, and also understanding what kind of person I am. And I know that I'm very detail oriented. In my own work, in my life, just the way that my brain is attuned, I notice little things, whether it's in people or I remember little details in what they say. Because of that, I notice little mistakes that can happen. And they happen actually a lot from junior people if they're just starting to learn how to do the job well. And I was one of them. I was making all of those same mistakes at the start. So I know about myself 2 things. One is I hate being micromanaged myself. I never want to be a micromanager. But 2, I'm a very detail-oriented person. And as you would expect, that kind of lends itself to someone who might be a little on the micromanaging side. So intentionally from the very beginning, I knew that this is something that might come up and I need to soften that part of me because I know that this is the way that I lean. And I need to kind of allow people to do things in an imperfect way and to improve through doing that. So sometimes that means that when you give feedback to people, you actually cannot address 100 things. You have to pick out the important ones, maybe give some more general corrections and just see if they course correct themselves. It can be very overwhelming if as a junior person you're getting a humongous list of things that is wrong with what you've submitted, the work that you've done. You have to really prioritize and also pick out the things that will actually matter for the work that you're submitting. There's no perfect, correct way to do this. Your standards of the work that you have to do might be incredibly high, and that means that actually someone micromanaging is needed because the threshold is so high of what is considered good. But you just have to put yourself in the shoes of that person and really think about their experience and whether they're learning in a way that kind of hits that golden middle in between guidance and space. Number 3, mental health is everything, both for yourself and for the person that you manage. So if there's any stuff happening in life that means that you might be distracted or you might be worried about something in your life, about someone's health, there's a family emergency or anything like that. And in the same way, if that happens for the person you're managing, my personal opinion is that takes priority over any sort of work stuff that might be happening. Family and loved ones are everything. That's literally the thing that matters the most in life, in my opinion. And that means that you need to be a human. You need to be a human about it and not a work first person. There are just moments where it really, really matters that you completely understand and give people the benefit of the doubt and a genuine human support when they really need it. If someone is really crumbling with their mental health, don't be demanding 100% work-wise from them, because it's just not possible, and support them to either take the time that they need to recover or just discuss together how you can get through that as people rather than as colleagues. Number 4, you have to care about their professional development. If you're a manager, that is now part of your job. I think it's very easy to fall into the pattern of really being zoomed in and focused on the tasks that you have to get done, that you've delegated, and then you expect to just, get them back, review them, and then be done with what you need to do. The thing that I've realized is that the people that managed me the best were the people who really cared about what I want to achieve, what are my goals, what am I genuinely passionate about at work, and how can I develop the skills that I want to develop through the work that we're doing together. Sometimes that required us to adjust the way that we work. For example, me taking on more responsibility would have meant that I have to actually delegate something else to someone else in the team. You also have to remember that this is that person's career and they have certain aspirations. They want to get to, a particular promotion maybe, or they want to specialize in a particular thing. It is part of your job to support them in doing that. In the same way that you hope that your manager would care about what you want to achieve and help you get there. It's kind of like not just taking on the role of a manager, but also a bit of a mentor. Someone who will really challenge that person in a productive way to go where they want to go. That requires a couple of things: attention to what they want. It requires some time and actually having meetings about it, because you can't know for sure unless you ask. And finally, it needs communication between you two, but also you and people above you, so that they know what you want to do to help the person achieve their goals and what that requires from them. And I know that that's an extra requirement on your capacity, but I genuinely believe that if you are to be a good manager, this is part of the skill set. Thing number 5, get to know the human behind the person that you're managing, behind the work facade of a person that you are at work. What I mean is, the thing that makes my work experience the best is when I actually feel connected to the people that I work with, and I can talk to them about stuff that is not work 100% of the time. And of course, work is a priority. That's what you're paid to do. And that should be the thing that you dedicate most time to. But if you're able to have an actual human conversation with someone that you're working with, your experience is just going to be 10 times better. If you are stressed and you feel safe to tell them, your experience is going to be 10 times better. If you made a mistake and you feel comfortable telling them, and you've established that relationship and you feel psychologically safe to come to them, you will feel 10 times better. And also the work will be better because it'll be a more enjoyable experience. So spend a bit of time to actually get to know them beyond the tasks that you're giving them. Get to know what they're interested in, what is happening in their life, to the extent that is appropriate for the work culture that you're in. If that was helpful, I think you'll really enjoy watching this video over here, and I'll see you over there. Bye.